Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to reading. Today, I want to teach you that readers understand different characters' points of view. So first, they pay attention to how the different characters react when something happens. Then, the reader make their voices match how different characters feel. And this is important because when readers understand how each character feels, then they understand what they're really thinking. For example, in this book right here that we read about those darn squirrels, I want you to pay attention to how Fookwire responds to the squirrels taking his food, right? How does he respond when the squirrels are taking his food? Well, he yells at them, right? It says right here, he shook his fist. He's shaking his fist at him right here. And he yelled, "Those darn squirrels!" Right? So when I read that, I had emotion in my voice, right? Because I have to match the way my voice feels, so the way that the character feels. So I know the character feels frustrated and mad, so his voice should sound that way. Whenever I'm saying, "Those darn squirrels," I wouldn't say it in that tone because that's not showing he's mad. "Those darn squirrels!" That shows me he feels angry and frustrated. So what we're doing today is we're practicing making sure that we're responding and saying it the way that the character feels. In this example here, how does Fookwire respond to the squirrels giving him their loose change? So all this change right here, how does he respond? He says, "Maybe you squirrels aren't so bad," right? But I still like birds better. So when he's saying that, he's saying it like, maybe you're not so bad after all. How is he feeling? Is he really mad anymore? Not really mad, so the tone in his voice would change. All right, so he feels kind of like, even the look on his face, maybe things aren't so bad after all. So his voice would have to match that. Maybe you squirrels aren't so bad. Right? So you have to make sure you're paying attention to how the character feels, what their voice should sound like as you're reading. Let's look at this last example. All right. How Fookwire responds to the squirrels dressing up like the birds. How does he respond to the birds? He says, or the squirrels that are dressed like birds. He says right here, "Great googly moogly." Look at that exclamation point. It's like an excited tone, right? "This will make quite a painting." Right? So how is he feeling? He's kind of like, he's got a little pep in his step. He's a little more joyful now that those squirrels have kind of done something to make him feel better. And over here, whenever he says "those darn squirrels" inside of his house, he's saying it in a different tone as well. He's not saying it in a mean tone this time. He's got the smile on his face. I mean, he might not be happy about the fact that they're in his house making a mess, but he is not upset either. So he's like, "You darn squirrels, you silly old squirrels, what are y'all doing?" That's kind of his attitude in the voice he would have. So today what we're practicing is making sure that our voice is matching the way the character feels. So you've got to pay attention and make sure you understand the way the character is feeling, and then when you go to read it, you're making sure that the way you're reading it matches how they feel. So your voice, your tone of voice, needs to make sure it matches. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and send you off to continue practicing paying attention to how different characters react when something happens, okay? I want you to notice the characters in the books that you're reading. So when you're reading today on your own, I want you to pay close attention and see what your character is feeling, and then make sure you match your voice to the way they're feeling. So if they're in a happy mood, your voice should be in a happy tone. If they are frustrated and mad, your voice should be frustrated and mad. If they are being silly, then you kind of maybe have a silly voice going on. So that's what I'm going to encourage you to do today when you are reading independently. Okay? So, I want you to go on to Epic, and I want you to begin reading a book and paying close attention to how the character feels and then matching your voice. Once you've done that, once you've been reading, at 9:15, I want you to go start your must-do. I don't want you to start your must-do until 9:15. This is reading class, so the majority of your time will be spent reading independently. So at 9:15, I want you to start your must-do, which would be to record what the question is asking, and it's going to have to do with the character in your story, how they're responding, and the voice that you use. So go ahead and choose a book to begin reading, and do your must-do at 9:15. Okay? I'll see you in a little while.